I never imagined a simple neighborhood picnic would turn into the showdown of the year with sirens and everything. My name is Sandra and I had moved to this idyllic suburb with my family just months ago seeking peace. We thought the tree-lined streets and perfectly manicured lawns would be heaven for raising our 2 kids. Little did I know the HOA president named Karen had turned her tiny patch of power into a personal kingdom. It started innocently enough with a certified letter in my mailbox about my garden gnomes being too whimsical for the rules. I chuckled at first thinking it was some kind of neighborhood joke, but her follow-up emails were dead serious and cold. Then she started showing up unannounced at my door with a measuring tape to check my grass length down to the inch. The neighbors began whispering behind my back after she spread rumors that I was the new troublemaker disrupting the vibe. I kept my head down and complied with every ridiculous demand just to keep the fragile peace intact. But Karen's hunger for control only grew stronger with each small victory she claimed over my front yard. The annual block party was supposed to be a fun community event full of laughter, grilled food, and easy conversation. The air smelled of fresh burgers and cut grass under the warm afternoon sun while kids ran around playing tag. I was chatting happily with a friendly neighbor when Karen marched straight toward me like a woman on a mission. Her eyes narrowed with pure disdain as she clutched that ever-present clipboard like it was a weapon of war. "You think you can ignore the HOA rules forever, Sandra?" she spat out loud enough for the whole park to hear. The crowd quieted down, sensing the brewing storm right in the middle of what should have been a relaxing picnic. She launched into a tirade about imaginary violations, including one claiming my parked car was a safety hazard to children. I stood there stunned, trying to process her absurd accusations being thrown at me in front of everyone watching. Then she pulled out her phone and dramatically dialed 911 for all the neighbors to witness in real time. "This resident is causing a major disturbance and I demand immediate police assistance," she yelled into the receiver theatrically. My stomach dropped as I realized this had escalated way beyond reason into full public spectacle territory. I quickly grabbed my own phone and began recording her unhinged performance without saying a single word back. The murmurs from the crowd grew louder as people exchanged confused glances and shifted uncomfortably on their feet. One brave neighbor finally stepped forward saying, "Karen, this is going way too far now and it needs to stop." Others nodded in agreement, their expressions shifting from shock to open disapproval of her ridiculous power trip. The police arrived within minutes with sirens blaring, cutting sharply through the once festive afternoon atmosphere. They listened patiently to Karen's rant, but their faces showed clear skepticism at her wild claims from the start. After questioning me briefly for just a couple of minutes, they concluded it was nothing but a waste of their time. Karen's face flushed bright red with embarrassment as the officers advised her firmly to back off and calm down. That moment felt like a small victory, but I knew the real battle was only just beginning behind the scenes. I had been documenting every single interaction with her for weeks out of sheer necessity and self-protection. Every email, every late-night voicemail, and now this public meltdown was safely saved in a well-organized digital folder. Back at home that evening, I reviewed the footage with my hands shaking from a mix of anger and relief. Her earlier email had slipped up by admitting she was targeting me personally because I once questioned her authority. That was the smoking gun, proving her actions were biased and completely against the HOA's own written bylaws. I prepared a detailed report with clear timestamps and sent it directly to the entire HOA board the next morning. The special meeting was called for the following week at the community center, and residents packed the room out of curiosity. I presented my evidence calmly while projecting the recordings for everyone in the audience to witness firsthand and clearly. Gasps filled the air as Karen's own voice played back her threats, lies, and admissions of personal vendetta. The board members looked horrified, realizing the full extent of her long-running abuse of power over residents. She tried to interrupt defensively, but the chair silenced her, demanding that she listen quietly for once in her life. When the final vote came, it was unanimous and swift to remove her as president, effective immediately without any delay. Karen stood up abruptly, knocking over her chair in a dramatic fit of visible rage and defeat. She stormed out of the room muttering curses under her breath as the heavy door slammed shut behind her. A wave of genuine applause erupted from the crowd who had finally seen the truth unfold right before their eyes. The neighborhood felt lighter almost immediately after her removal from power, as if a dark cloud had lifted. People started smiling at me again and even invited my family to casual barbecues without any lingering fear. The new board promised fairer enforcement of rules without the personal vendettas or made-up violations from before. I sat on my porch one peaceful evening, breathing in the calm suburban air with a deep sense of contentment. Reflections on the whole ordeal left me with a bitter but deeply satisfying taste of long-overdue justice served cold. Small tyrants like Karen always thrive on fear until someone refuses to play their twisted little game anymore. In the end, the crowd's shocked reaction combined with my smart recording changed everything for the better around here. Power, even in the tiniest hands, always reveals its ugly face when it goes unchecked for too long. Our little suburb finally returned to the quiet, peaceful life we had all hoped for when we first moved in. Yet I couldn't help but smirk, knowing Karen was probably plotting her dramatic comeback somewhere in private. Some people never learn that bullying while wearing pastel polos and carrying clipboards does not win in the long run. The experience taught me to stand up early, document everything, and never let a petty tyrant dictate my peace again. Now when I see the new HOA president waving hello, I feel a quiet sense of hard-earned triumph inside.